Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, the 30th day of March, 2026. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope your families are safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders doing their best to save lives every day. Those also that pick up garbage to keep our streets, cities, and towns clean. Those that make deliveries, such as mail, for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children, victims of child molestation and pedophilia. Those that are helping the people that are victims of prostitution and child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that create the demands that cause these industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night in Oklahoma City. New York Knicks lost to Oklahoma City Thunder, 111 to 110. The problem, we talked about this in my pod yesterday in the live stream. If you didn't see that, what we talked about was it was going to be a tough game. Oklahoma was 9-1 in their last 10. This is the second game on the road for the Knicks, having lost to Charlotte on Thursday night. We knew going into Oklahoma under these conditions was going to be difficult. So the loss wouldn't surprise us. But we also talked about fairness from the referees. And one of the, and you can really, it's not hard to see from the statistics. This is one of them that you could look at the stats and you could get a picture. Not always the case. But looking at, and we talked about, I knew that Shai Gilgeous, and by the way, he's lost. I'm not looking at him as no MVP. I'm sorry. I'm not. Charlotte, Oklahoma City got 38 free throws. The Knicks got 17 free throws. If you want to see bad refereeing, look at that stat. There should not be one team getting double in the NBA free throw attempts to the other team. It wasn't that Oklahoma was that much more aggressive than the Knicks. They were not. So the Knicks get 17 free throws. Charlotte gets 38. They lose. So that's a difference of 21 free throws. Okay, so the Knicks lose the game by 11. That's bad. And some people was tripping because Mike Brown lost his cool. He's supposed to lose his cool. It was so obvious what they were doing. The very first foul of the game, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander comes across the lane. Nobody touches him. They showed the replay. Nobody touches him. And he's going to the free throw line. That was happening more than half the game. He himself got 17. He got almost as many free throws as the whole Knicks team. It was really, I don't mind if our Knicks lose a game because it was a hard-fought game and the other team just pulled it out. I have no problem with that. I can live with that. Some of y'all can't, but I can. I can live with that. If we played our game, they played their game, it was evenly matched, and we lose at the end, okay. But don't tell me you're going to give the other team 21 more free throw opportunities than the Knicks and say it was an evenly called game. That was bad. That was really bad. We can't do anything about it. You know, the league can, but we can't. We can't do anything about that. And the problem is in this particular situation, we're talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was MVP last year. The problem with this is the NBA is a business, and every business is in business, in the United States especially, for profit, to make money, okay? And part of the model that the NBA uses to make money is it creates stars and it highlights them. So, you know, you hear comments from media types talking about face of the franchise, face of the NBA. So really, like, that started really with Magic Johnson. I know everybody thinks Michael Jordan, but it was Magic and Bird. When they came out, first Bird came, then Magic came. When they came out, they signed with Converse at the time, and Converse started really pushing them in commercials. And the NBA started making more money because of those commercials, because that's how television makes money. Commercials. Companies, corporations pay for 30-second spots, and that's how money is made. And then, of course, in order, that's why you hear you cannot replay this telecast without the express written permission, because they got deals with corporations, and the corporations are paying for commercials, and the commercials are paying the NBA, and the NBA is paying the players. That's how it works. Then came Jordan, and he brought it to a stratosphere that we haven't come down from yet when he signed with Nike. And of course, it's been going on ever since. Sneaker deals have been big. Now, if you look at the commercials, what do you see? You see now it's gone from sneakers to drug companies, fast food places, right? Drug companies, fast food places, and the big one, gambling. Gambling taking over. So now there's a lot of money to be made, and how they do it is they put people in place to be stars. Okay, Shai Gilgeous is their current star. There's a few of them. You got the Joker, Shai Gilgeous. There's a few guys. They put them out there, and I'm not saying they can't play basketball. Obviously they can, because they're in the NBA. But I'm saying the league makes money off them, and what that also influences is the referees. So once back in the day, Larry Bird was a bad man. And he was a bad man, talent-wise, one of the all-time greatest forwards we ever saw in the NBA was Larry Bird. I ain't saying he's the greatest, but he definitely was up there. Okay. And what used to be bad about Larry Bird was that he would talk a lot of smack to everybody. And you see, players would tell you, he would talk a lot of smack. He really, I don't think I've ever seen a trash talker like him. And there's been some. Michael Jordan was a trash talker. Kobe could talk some smack. But there was nobody like Larry Bird, who would not only talk the talk, but back it up. So at that time, one of the stars that the NBA was marketing, a lot aside from Bird, was Dr. J. Okay, Dr. J come up from Long Island, played for the Nets when they was on Long Island in the ABA, and blew up the ABA with he kept them in business just because that's how bad he was. Then when they did the merger in 75, 76, they did the merger, or was it 73, 74? I can't remember, but they did a merger in the 70s, and they brought Doc over to the NBA. They've been wanting him, but now he was there in Philly. So it was great. But then Doc got over 30, got to 32, 33, 34, and he was slowing down. It wasn't like it is today where you see a guy in their early 30s and still in their prime. At that time, the medicine, the workout, the food, the nutrition was different. So he was slowing down. He couldn't do what he used to do. So they came to play Boston, and Bird was just letting him have it, I think Bird had over 40, and Doc didn't even reach double figures. And he was just coming down the floor telling Doc, the next play I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to shoot this ball in your face. You ain't nothing. You should retire. He was going like that. Doc is basketball royalty, man. At that time, you just didn't do it. Not because Doc wasn't as good at that. He wasn't as good as Bird was at that moment. Although, if they both met in their prime, that would be a different story. But Doc got mad and grabbed homie by his throat. He was going to do a Latrell on him. And they broke it up. And then the NBA had to rush. This was the thing. Rush to squash this, because this was bad for business. And so again, where does this go? Where am I going? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they want him to be successful, because his success makes money for the league and actually for all the players. Success of Shai makes money, and it has influenced the referees. Okay. So that he could go to the basket, not get touched, and get fouls called. Okay? Now, I understand it. But in a competitive game where you got two really top 6 teams in the league playing each other, you got to let that go. You got to let that go. So last night, like for example, the Knicks, listen, they made some mistakes. They only had 19 freaking assists and 18 turnovers. So they were going to lose that game, okay? But look here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was 8 of 18, 1 of 3. They was locking that boy down. They was in his ass. They did a good job and keeping him out the paint. But then he had 16 free throws. So he scored 30, but 16 of those points was at the free throw line. Well, 13, because he was 13 of 16. So he really would have had like 17. And he's supposed to be the superstar. The Knicks really did a good job there. I got to give it to him, okay? And the final score, 100-111, it was a low-scoring game. And for all of the mistakes the Knicks was making, they was in that game. And let me tell you something. In the 7-game series, we could play with them. We could, okay? So I am not knowing. There's nothing we could do. We can't control the referees. None of us can. Even the players can't. But the league can talk to the referees about stuff like this. They could still have the SGA star if they want. But this was ridiculous. It really was. I mean, come on, man. They take 38 free throws and we only take 17? I mean, that don't make no sense, man. It just doesn't. Brunson got 4. 4. Brunson always in the lane. He got 4. 4 free throws. Towns gets 5. OG gets 4. And Shai Gilgeous gets 16. We from New York, man. We don't have to play the 3-card Monty to know it's a sucker game. Okay? That was a sucker game. That's why I'm proud. My problem is not with them losing, although we all hate to see the Knicks lose. That's our squad, right? But how they lost. Come on, man. You can't be giving them. So you giving the top team in the league, the defending champion, a 21 free throw advantage. That's the ball game right there. That's your ball game. See, okay, yes. Look. They got only 19 assists. Right. The ball wasn't moving. I'll give you that. It wasn't moving. No, it wasn't. And 18 turnovers, you can't win in the league with 18 turnovers. But they were still there. Come fourth quarter, there was a point, it was like 93, 94, something like that. We was right there. Okay? That's what, look, the refs against them. I mean, and I can say this for a certainty. I'm not just giving you opinion. I mean, 38 free throws to 17, the refs was against them. Okay? They're in Oklahoma City. They lose Deuce. And we still there. Look, no, they didn't play ball the right way yesterday. But look, Brunson's a warrior, but he was, and I'm saying, he wasn't moving the ball. They wasn't moving the ball the way they were supposed to. Josh Hart was playing low IQ on defense. He was killing on the threes, though. I mean, homie hit 5 of 7 from 3. So that kind of balanced out. But he was low IQ on defense. I don't know what the hell he was thinking yesterday. But overall, look here, man. Cat, 18 boards. 18. That's grown-ass man rebounding right there. Really, that's grown-ass man rebounding. Say what you want. That's grown-ass man rebounding right there. Okay? 18 boards, man. I mean, damn. 7 on the offensive end. That's grown-ass man rebounding. And we was right there in the fourth quarter. Let me say this again. 7-game series, I ain't worried about them. You know what I'm worried about? The referees. And what area? Free throws. They did the right thing. I mean, the Knicks, I'm saying, they did the right thing. The Knicks, they was aggressive. They was physical. They put the kibosh on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the refs let him go. How you gonna give some? I'm not. You know what? It's a loss, but Shai Gilgeous lost my respect. He did. He lost my respect because I understand the league's trying to make money. I get it, but JB's a star too. Karl-Anthony Towns is a star too. Yeah, so again, we can't whine about it. You know why? What can we do about it? Nothing. Can't do nothing about it. I'm proud of my Knicks. I don't want to hear none of y'all whining about coach or nothing today. I don't want to hear it. They played their ass off. Under the worst conditions, they played their ass off, man. They was right there. The fourth quarter, OKC outscores the Knicks 27-22, and most of that was free throws. Nah, man. No, man. We're not going for the okie doke. But look, what can we control? Play our game. They did. They we could have played better yesterday. They could have played better yesterday. They could have. But like I said, okay, we could take that. Listen, they do their best and lose. Okay, I could deal with that. I mean, that's cool. That's gonna happen. They only had 21 assists, so it wasn't like the Knicks they were doing the same thing. Okay, but look, the Knicks shot 43% from three. The Oklahoma shot 36. The Knicks, it was a tough. When it's tough like this is what we call an ugly game. It was like that. It was an ugly game. But you know what? Ugly game with two great teams is really good. I love watching that. Okay, so the Knicks, they were valiant, man. They came in, did their thing. You can't fight against the 6-man when they're giving the other team a 21-point advantage. We good. Houston next. All I want to know now for real is where's my boy Deuce? That's it. Because we saw what happened. He did not get hit in the area of his groin. It happened when he dove. When he was in the air, he was wincing as he was hitting the ground before he hit the ground. So something didn't go right there. And Deuce is a tough nut. So like when I've been looking at him sitting on the ground, Deuce will pop back up and keep on going. That's him. So I was like, Deuce, get up. And he was sitting there. And I was like, oh, shoot, man. And then when they said they called for the trainers, I was like, oh, damn, this is not good. So my hope, I haven't got the report yet. So I'm waiting for the report. But my hope is, listen, just sit, homie, until the playoffs. Okay? So hopefully he didn't re-tear or anything. Because, the Knicks especially, they got the best medical staff in the league, in my opinion. They've had that for a long time. Even when they sucked, they had a great medical staff, okay? Even when KP hurt himself, one of the things that got him traded was he would not work with the Knicks medical staff and insisted on working with his own medical staff, which is going to be subpar compared to the New York medical staff. And then he started acting the fool and they traded him, which they should have. I never blame Steve Mills for trading him. I blame KP. KP talked his way out of New York, him and his brother, and they deserve to go. But what I'm saying is the Knicks would not have allowed Deuce to be. Yeah, so I'm just thinking, listen, if he didn't, they're very careful about letting the guy play. And he makes sure if he coming off an injury. And as I mentioned to y'all several times, Deuce is the type of guy, if he's walking, he wants to play. So for him to walk off yesterday, sit down with that pain and go in the locker room, that wasn't good. Okay, so I'm hoping that they were trying to evaluate him. So my first concern there is I hope he didn't re-tear anything. If it just was something that, was a strain because it wasn't fully healed, okay. But a re-tearing would be another surgery, would mean he's done until next season, which means bad for us. So I'm hoping it's just he needs to sit. If they were to say a week, I still wouldn't play him. I wouldn't play him until the first round of the playoffs. Okay, I'd have him practicing, I'd have him getting ready. I would not play him. He's too valuable. So I'm just waiting for that report. And I'm sure it's going to come out between Ian Begley and Shams. Somebody's going to give us a report about that and Coach Brown. So we'll find out what's going on probably today, I'm sure. So we'll see. But he's definitely out against Houston tomorrow. He's out against Houston tomorrow. See, so that's that. And that's the biggest concern. But listen, I don't want to hear no whining about the Knicks today. They played. They were right there. And they were in Oklahoma City giving it to the Thunder. Okay? And could have beat them if it wasn't for the referees giving the Thunder a 21-shot advantage. And again, you can look at any game. Whenever, like, I've had many people, almost every loss, I get two guys people in every loss. This was a winnable game as if the Knicks are not supposed to lose any. And then the second one is the referees hate us, okay? So what I usually do is that's the first stat I look at. Okay, how many free throws did the Knicks get? How many free throws did their opponents get? Because that's the best stat to tell you if the fix is in. It don't have to be exactly even, but let's say the Knicks got 17, Oklahoma City could have got 20. Okay, free throws, I mean. 17 to 20. Okay, that's even enough. You understand what I'm saying? But don't tell me you're going to give them 21 more free throws than the Knicks and you call that game fair. So, no. I'm not, Oklahoma City losing my respect. They're not that good. If you're going to get, see, listen, you spot the Knicks 21 free throws. We ain't going to lose. See? So, okay. We got to move on. So we got Houston tomorrow, okay? And then it's a back-to-back, Houston-Memphis. We're going to have Mitchell Rob tomorrow. We would not have him against Memphis. Fine. I was yelling at Jose Alvarado. Sometimes again, that's why I do not do post-game analysis because I'm too emotional. I wish a lot of people would follow that. But Jose Alvarado was sucking up the joint, right? But then homie came forward and hit two big threes. Okay, big threes. And all of that, the Knicks was right there. And so he ended up being +6. In fact, the bench ended up playing well. +6 for Jose, +5 for Jordan Clarkson, +2 for Mitch Rob. And even the 2 minutes that Mo D played, he was even. Deuce was -1, but he only played 11 minutes until he got hurt. And Deuce usually, if he don't come out the box swinging, which he usually does, and he'll hit some threes early, he always comes on late. So he didn't get a chance to do his thing. It's all good. But I like how they looked yesterday overall. The fight was there. And this is the thing. Whereas the energy wasn't there in the first quarter against Charlotte, the energy was there. You know, the energy was there. It wasn't a lack of energy causing them to get 19 assists. It was a tough game, and they just lost the game plan and too many turnovers, man. I mean, really, too many turnovers. Alvarado had 4 himself, and then Cat is like Juju. Remember, Juju used to be the turnover king for the Knicks. No, well, now it's Cat. Okay, they do that. And then, of course, Brunson had 4 turnovers. So Brunson had a bad game as far as that's concerned. He's still, again, what I like about Jalen Brunson, he's an assassin, and homie's a warrior. Okay, I mean, for real. You know, matter of fact, I remember when they signed a point guard when they traded for Carmelo, but that year they signed him. I forgot his name. He's from North Carolina, but anyway, they said, "What are the Knicks getting in you when you come to the Knicks?" And he looked in the camera and said, "They're getting a warrior." That's Jalen Brunson. Raymond Felton. He's chubby now, but back then, he came to the Knicks. He was having an all-star season when he got traded to Denver for Carmelo. Bad move right there. But Jalen Brunson is the elite warrior. He really is. He's a warrior. So is his boy Josh Hart. And yes, so yeah. And you got to give that to him. You know, he might make mistakes. He might ball hard, go hero ball, but it's always from a place where he's trying to win. Remember, this is a cat that won in high school, won in college. He wants to win in the league. And so sometimes, you know, he gets carried away, but it's all right. You know, 13 to 22. Mikal Bridges had 11 shots. Everybody else in the starting 5 had 9 shots, But Cat, you know, he scored only 15, but homeboy was horsing balls. Grown-ass man rebounds, Cat was. I love that when a big man does that. So that I ain't going to whine about Cat. But you got Oklahoma City got spotted 21 shots. 21 free throws. Okay? 21. And so when you look at, for example, what did they shoot from the line? They shot 82% from the line. So take 80% of 21. What you just spotted them was about 17 points. Okay? I ain't having it. I'm not going to whine about the Knicks. We came down there to OKC. We fought like hell. We lose a close game. and the referee spotted them 17 points. We good. Move on. Next game. Okay? We'll be all right. I just hope, see now, Kevin Durant is like that, but Kevin Durant's on the downside of his career right now. So he's not one of those guys that they need to prop up like SGA MVP candidate. So hopefully they don't do that in Houston. And we get a chance to win that game. Because Jalen Brunson should be the one they prop it up. Anyway, y'all enjoy your Sunday. It's not as nice when the Knicks don't win, but I'm not as concerned with this one. Because I came away from this game saying, shit, 7-game series, we could beat them. We could. And remember last year now, they didn't just roll over Indiana. It went 7 games. And Halliburton messed up his Achilles in game 7. If it wasn't, Indiana could be the reigning champions right now. And we could play with Indiana and we could play with them. Okay? So y'all should be proud of your team. Your team's in a position to win. Let's just try to get Deuce back. Everybody stay healthy. I'm hoping we get Shamet for Houston. They did have Shamet listed as coming back on the 31st of March. So that's the Houston game. So hopefully we get him back for that. And then let's keep on going, y'all. Just keep on going. Next, Houston. Forget OKC. Yeah, and SGA lost my MVP vote. No. I'll say Jaylen Brown or Victor Wembanyama. Forget SGA. You can't be spotting do 16 shots. Come on, man. Anyway, next game, y'all. Enjoy your Monday. Be safe. Sure.